Welcome to this video rant. I think that's probably what it's going to turn out to be. Let us know if you are watching the replay, type in replay, or if you're watching live, tell us that you're watching live. Engage and ask questions and make comments, like anything that really lands with you. Please let us know. We want this to be interactive. So I'm just going to jump on the soapbox right away. I had a thought this morning, knowing that we were going to do a video today. And for whatever reason, doesn't matter what the catalyst was, I was just thinking about entrepreneurship and how so many marketing messages are some version of step by step. I'll tell you exactly what to do. And if you do this, then it'll work just like it worked with so-and-so, pick a person.
Right.
And I get pitched every single day on people that are going to guarantee that I'll get, high ticket clients and prospects and all that stuff from my YouTube channel and Instagram channel and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So the marketing world, and it's not just the coaching world, but it's marketing in general. Marketers are suppliers. And it's very similar to the concept, at least, of the drug trade. If people want drugs, there will always be dealers because there's money to be made and people are willing to buy drugs, right? So if people want something, there will always be a supply of salespeople to sell what the people want. And so the proliferation of step by step, that phrase exactly, means that's what people want. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it on the shelves. You wouldn't see so many versions of step by step. You wouldn't see it in the pitches as much as you do, or the guarantees and the turnkeys and all that stuff. Like the marketing language tells you what people want because marketers position it according to what sells, which means this is what people want. So you can just take a look at what's on a menu. In this case, the marketers in the coaching industry, and you can deduce what people are buying because that's what that's the only thing that the good marketers are going to sell. And so what that tells me is what people really want are step by step, follow instructions, do this, guarantees,
Easy,
super simple, quick, all of that. And at a deep, deep level, it's speaking to our fears of what we want and what we want to avoid. But on the surface level, it's just speaking to our desires. Give me what I want and quickly. And I think this is really, really important for all of you to understand just the bigness of it so that you can make choices that are aligned with you. And in a world of like in an industry like coaching, you are the individual ingredient. You are the individual product. And if you are the individual product, there is no assembly line that has already been built for you to fit into. And I don't think most people are literally looking for that or consciously looking to just actually put themselves into an assembly line and then be generalized and then be put out there on the shelves so that people will pay. But at an unconscious level, it's absolutely what people are doing. So as I was thinking about all this, and, there was an email that we both saw recently, like this method will work for all coaches all the time to produce this result. And it's just bullshit. It's anytime I see that, I usually get angry on some level because it's bullshit. And there's not anybody who actually believes that. So anybody who's selling that knows it's a lie. And that's where I get irritated. But once I step out of my little judgmental hat or judgmental horse or step off of, I don't step out of the horse, I step off of the horse. That got gross. Once I get out of that judgy place, then I actually get sad because I realize that's what people want. People want to know what's the promise that you can make to me that will work for me, guaranteed. And here's the reality, you guys. There is no such thing as step-by-step entrepreneurship. There is no such thing as follow the leader entrepreneurship. There is no such thing as guaranteed entrepreneurship. There is literally no such thing, because entrepreneurship is about creating something that hasn't already existed. That's what creativity is. Creativity is a huge part of entrepreneurship, and you cannot follow somebody else's directions and be an entrepreneur, because those two worlds don't overlap. If I give you the instructions to follow, and you, even if you could follow them, and I did have a magical recipe where you could follow them and you will succeed. I'm putting that in quotes because I have different definitions of success. But let's say that it would financially work for you. Let's say that I give you the step-by-step instructions. These are the websites to put up. These are the social media platforms to be on. This is the pitch. This is the price. This is the program. This is what to sell that people will buy. If I had that for you and you followed it to a T and it financially worked for you, meaning people bought it, then once you're done with that, you have to come back to me to get your next set of instructions. And that's not entrepreneurship. You actually didn't learn a single thing in that process of following my directions. All you did is become one of my affiliates, basically. All you did is your version of my recipe. So even if it works, which ain't going to happen, but even if it does, it's not entrepreneurship. And why that's really critical is because if you want an entrepreneurial business, you have to become and you have to think like an entrepreneur. Anything that does not build your entrepreneurial skills is not good. Even if it works, it's not good. If your goal is to be an entrepreneur. Now, here's the other piece to this. If you are not an entrepreneur, you'll never have freedom. You'll never have what you want in your life as an entrepreneur. And I think most people don't actually want to build and manage and run companies. I think they want the freedom that a built and well-managed company can provide. But they're not learning how to do that. So it's just this free-for-all of give me the outcome that I really want without doing what it takes to provide that. Now, I don't think any of this is conscious. I've fallen for this so many times. To this day, I still want those shortcuts to be true. I still open the emails. Sometimes I'll even register for the webinars that promise something like, oh, maybe this is the one that actually will deliver. And I'm just constantly let down and disappointed because the fads never work. They never have worked for me. And so we're up against this perpetual challenge where what is required for people to have the results that they want is the hard work that almost nobody wants to experience. Let me just finish this last thought and I'll throw it over to you to share whatever your experiences are with this. So because of that, in the coaching world, nearly everything, this is my observation after 18 years in this industry and almost all of that with coaches, trying to help coaches be better coaches, build bigger businesses, like finger on the pulse of the entire coaching industry. So this is my assessment. Because of all the things I just talked about, almost everything that people are buying is not necessarily a bad purchase. It's just bad timing. Meaning that we want to get the 8th grade curriculum so that we can get whatever it is that we think that's going to give us, but we're in 2nd grade. And so we figure if we just invest in the 8th grade textbooks and we get the 8th grade backpack and we learn how to open the 8th grade lockers, that's the way to shortcut and actually give us the 8th grade certificate.
Right.
But it's not. If you're in 2nd grade, you have to pass 2nd grade. And this is just perpetually difficult emotionally for us, because in this world, in this industry, there isn't a process that's agreed upon, right? You hear me say this all the time. Nobody's doing this in the law world.
Right.
There are no lawyers that are trying to shortcut their journey to pass the bar exam, because that's not legal. Mm-hmm. Nobody's doing this in the medical field. Nobody's doing this in therapy or counseling. Nobody's doing that because it's not possible to do, because there are very clear guidelines. Mm-hmm. In the coaching world, it's just a free-for-all. And so because there aren't very clear guidelines, there are a lot of people convincing most people that there are shortcuts, and we will always want shortcuts. As humans, we're always going to want shortcuts. Mm-hmm. So what the truth is, from my experience, is that there is a process mm-hmm. to getting really good at the work that you have to do. There is a process to becoming entrepreneurial. There is a process to becoming creative. It's just not the process that almost everybody is buying, because we just don't simply know that process. But it's really difficult to deliver that, right? It's like, putting sugar on broccoli. It's like, how do you make people want what they need? And this is important for all of you that want to be coaches for your own journey, but it's also important for you to understand this if you want to build a coaching business, because this is the thing that you're going to have to understand when it comes to marketing and messaging.
Bingo.
All right. What do you want to add?
So much stuff. Okay. The first thing that came up for me when you were speaking is that for me, the done for you, the step-by-step, that was so appealing to me early on in my journey, because I don't have the, like, my coaching experience, or like you were established as a coach in this industry when I came up and was, learning and being mentored and trained inside of your community and with you personally. The desire to have the answers removed me. Like it did remove me. It took me out of it, which to me was so appealing, because I thought that I was the problem. Right. And so there was such a big appeal for me to go after these, like, well, what's the right answer? And I used to ask this, like, just to my remembering, like, incessantly in our programs or in one-on-one conversations of just like, well, what's the right thing to do here? And what's the right way to market? Or what's the right way to language that? Or what's the right thing to say? Or the right coaching tool? Because it took me out of it. But when you were talking, Sean, about like how even if I did follow that step-by-step, right, that plan, and even if it did work, like the one of the hardest places, and we've spoken about this before, is that if it does work and it's so hollow because it took me out of it. So then I have this business that, like, I supposedly started to be able to help people and feel this thing in this way and make this difference. But now I've got this thing that I've achieved, but like, I'm not even in it. I'm not even present. I'm not even there to be able to enjoy it. Because it didn't involve me. And so that doesn't.
It's simultaneously the most appealing thing and the most terrifying thing.
Right.
Is to put ourselves in the mix. Right.
Yeah. Meaning to me, like, it was something I really, really, really wanted, and also was super, super, super scared of. Right. And just inside of this conversation, I mean, I really wanted the assembly line, because it would give me a place to feel like I like belonged and that I was a part of something and like, okay, like I could fit in here and not stand out, which is what is so necessary when we are trying to build our businesses and learn how to actually embody the entrepreneurship that you were speaking about. It
Right.
requires like us to do this thing. And so, I mean, this is just, it's this like really being able to recognize that this is happening and that this is at play is one of the things. Having that honest conversation with myself is one of the things that did enable me to then be a choice, so that when those emails come through like you were talking about and I do want to opt in and be like, well, maybe there is something that I haven't really thought about, I can also understand what's happening and have a little bit more control over it, versus feeling like I've just been hijacked and I'm kind of being drug along this journey of other people's paths and answers for myself.
Yeah, and this is a really difficult message. It is. We understand that it's a difficult message to get people excited about, because, and that's actually that, you know, that's probably a whole nother video, but what generates excitement chemically in our brains
Yeah.
is not fundamentals.
Mm-mm.
It's fads. And so we live in a world that is so driven by chemical excitement that we need to understand ourselves and regulate ourselves and realize that almost anything that is going to induce the chemical excitement is probably false, because the truth doesn't usually do that. So in the marketing world, in the coaching world, if you see something that says so-and-so made $20,000 in a weekend, chemical flood.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I want that.
Right.
Okay, great. So I'm going to give you the step-by-step guaranteed approach so that you can too. Chemical activation.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're teaching is probably not wrong.
Right.
It's just not yet.
Right.
So yes, is it possible? Sure. But if you don't have all of the foundation that that person had, or you're not selling what that person's selling, or you have a different community than that person has, or you have a different lifestyle, or you have a different personality, or you're different in any way, probably not going to work for you. Unless you become that person. You become just like them. You sell what they're selling to the people they're selling to in the same way they're selling it.
Right.
And then to your point a few moments ago, well, then you're not in your business.
Mm-mm.
And you don't even you just sent a representative to build this business. You just built somebody else's franchise, but you're not in it. And so it doesn't have the capacity for you to be in the business, which means you can't be in the fulfillment of it. You can't be in the joy of it. You can't actually be in the control of it.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is following the directions. So we get it. We totally get it. To this day, it frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in this, I'm an 18-year entrepreneur in this field.
Mm.
And many of you know, like, I am pre-social media, you guys. I was doing this work, and I remember one of my coaches said, hey, there's this thing I just heard about. It's called Facebook. I think you should probably get an account, because as well as your MySpace account, because I think like this might be a thing in the future. Like,
Yeah.
and this is before Instagram and before Facebook and before, way before TikTok. I mean, YouTube.
Periscope. That's what I remember.
All of those things, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've been in this world for all that time.
Mm.
And my business has probably generated somewhere between $7 and $8 million. I don't know, but it's a lot. And I don't know what's going to work.
Right.
I still don't know what's going to work with my own programs, with our same community, with 18 years and let's call it $7 million of success. I don't know what's going to work. So if anybody ever tells you they know what's going to work, it's a mother lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not possible in the entrepreneurial world.
Right.
It is not possible. Mm-hmm. But especially with how fast society now changes, what worked last week might not work in terms of platforms and algorithms that are changing and all this stuff. You don't know. So anybody that's predicting your future and telling you they know what details are going to work, they are lying. Now, they might not be intentionally deceiving you. I'm not going to put that on them.
Right.
I don't know who they are. I don't know what their intentions are. They might not be intentionally deceiving you, but they're pitching something that is not knowable.
Right.
But they know you want to know. They know you'll pay for those predictions.
Right.
How do they know? Because you pay for it. Because we pay for it. So in the unpredictable world of entrepreneurship, if anybody's predicting the future, that is an impossibility. Now, I'm talking about like results. Like, I promise you, you're going to make $40,000, or this is going to work on Facebook, or, you know, I can 10x your business, whatever. There are some predictions that can be made, but not the tangible stuff. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable, and you have to get okay with not knowing things, and you have to take ignorant action. But on the other side of all of that, there are predictions that we can make. Your certainty will increase. Your confidence will increase. Your embodied conviction will increase. I don't know when, but if you do the work that produces those outcomes, and you stay committed to doing the work that produces those outcomes, then those outcomes will be produced, but only if you do the work that produces those outcomes. That can absolutely be guaranteed, but I don't know when. It depends on so many variables. What I've learned is that there's this 1 to 3 year window that it takes for most coaches to get not just the confidence, which is an intellectual concept,
right,
but the certainty, which is an embodied concept, and then even deeper than that, the conviction, which is an energetic concept. It takes 1 to 3 years for people to have the conviction required to then make, listen to what I'm going to say, you guys, to then make the marketing strategies relevant. Not successful, relevant. Meaning the 8th grade stuff isn't even relevant until you've passed 7th grade. So this is the hard truth for a lot of people to consume. But let me also tell you, when you sign up for the marathon, you'll go faster. That's the cool thing. And some of you might already be in this boat. I know a lot of people who are in this boat because they didn't want to do the thing that would take 3 years. 10 years later, they're still at the starting line.
Yeah.
Because 10 years of fads will keep you where you are with just little temporary steps forward.
Yeah.
But a lot of time those are illusions. So the good news is you can actually shorten your curve by understanding this and signing up for however long it takes. And then the milestones can get knocked off, including paying customers. That's one of the things that we need to keep talking more and more and more about. How many people pick up paying clients without doing any of the marketing strategies? They pick up paying clients while they're committed to getting really, really good. I mean, you did that.
That's how I built my entire business.
Wait. I thought you have like all kinds of campaigns and all kinds of free downloads and like all kinds of, marketing, automated, all those strategies. I
No,
thought
sir.
that's how you get. I thought that's how you got all your clients.
No, sir. No, not any of it, actually. Yeah. I mean, I've tried it. Like I have set it up in the past, but no, I don't have any of those things. It's literally how I built my business. The other stuff was just it just put me in a place and in an energy and in a frame of mind that just wasn't like I did it. I tried it on, and it just didn't work for me. And it just got to a point where I had to recognize, like, I can keep trying to force myself to do the thing that I think I'm supposed to do because of what somebody else has told me to do, because I asked other people what I was supposed to do, because I didn't trust myself with my own decisions and intuitions, and try those things on and those actions on to recognize, like, I don't like this. The people that I'm working with, they don't like this either. Let me just meet myself where I am so that I can meet them where they are, and let this be an okay way for me to build a business. And it has been. And I'm not saying that it's the way for every single buddy, but it's the way that I've built my business.
And it's the way for almost everybody.
Mm-hmm.
In my assessment, it is the way for almost everybody. Nearly all of the marketing strategies that are being taught are two things: premature, for where most people are because they don't have the certainty and the confidence in the product itself, which is themselves, and or they don't want that anyway. Right? Like, I can give you the blueprint to build a 10-story building. Most of you don't want 10-story buildings anyway, because you know how hard it is to actually build as well as manage and then deal with all of the pressure of a 10-story building in business. Yeah. So the majority of the things that people are buying, they don't even want, but they don't know that they don't want it. Right. They want the outcome that's being promised, but they don't actually want it. And the number of times when I've recognized or said to somebody, like, just do the thing that you actually want to do, and you'll make more money, and you'll have 10 times less expenses, and you'll have 10 times less pressure, and you'll be happier as a human, and you'll have more coaching clients, and you'll actually feel more fulfilled than even if the thing that you're trying to do works. I promise you, because you don't want it anyway. So almost everybody has a strategy in terms of a recipe that will work for them as the authentic version of themselves, but that's not what most people are purchasing. It's not what most people are selling. So the good news to all of this is you can do this. And I know that is, maybe kind of sounds like a flat pie in the sky, almost like a hollow motivational saying, but you can, if you're willing to follow the process that produces the outcome. So what I said a moment ago is that it takes, in my estimation, based on all these years, about 1 to 3 years for people to really get confident, certain, and convicted. And it's usually the exact opposite order, by the way. Most people who are confident in their coaching skills have false confidence, and people can feel it. So it's actually in the opposite direction of what we think it is, because we're using the wrong entity to make our expectations. But it takes about 1 to 3 years, depending on a lot of variables. And then in that time frame, once you pass that place, now a lot of the marketing strategies become relevant. Mm-hmm. But until you have the certainty and conviction, all the marketing stuff that you're going to try to do is irrelevant, because it's not where you're going to end up being anyway, right? So then it takes a few years to build solid foundational entrepreneurial messages and to build the processes. It takes a while, you guys. Anybody that's telling you they can get you there overnight is lying. Yeah. In my experience. And to this day, I've literally not met a single person in 18 years, not met a single person that has succeeded with what nearly everybody is selling.
Mm.
That's significant. Now, if there is somebody that succeeded, if any of you have succeeded with those kinds of marketing fads, let me know.
I'm
Please
sure
let me
they're
know.
watching this video right now still, I imagine.
Yeah, no way. No way. But I genuinely, I've not seen it once.
Yeah.
Not a single time. But it's still what floods the marketing, that's what's so fascinating to me and sad. So there is a process, and you can go through that process. And if you're committed to the process, now the outcome is inevitable. Now the outcome of your certainty and your conviction is inevitable. I don't know how long it's going to take. There's way too many variables for me to pretend to predict that for you.
Right.
But the process is inevitable the outcome is inevitable if you follow the process. That will work for everybody. But on the other side of that, it's going to look different for everybody because you're the ingredient. That's the really important piece to get here. So with all that being said, this is what we do in our programs, is to give you the process experiences that will produce what you need to then be successful as coaches.
Bingo.
And you can get paying clients through that process.
Mm-hmm.
But if you try to get the paying clients before you've gone through that process, it's either going to not work or it will work. And both of those are bad.
Not good. Yeah.
So the process of you individually becoming rooted in your certainty and conviction is something that all of you can go through. And then we can build a business around who you are and who you want to speak to. I was just on the phone with a client just before this call. And there's an opportunity that is monstrous, monster opportunity, like multi-million-dollar over the next several years opportunity.
Wow.
And what I said was, this is all because of 2 years of doing the work and failing and getting frustrated and trying TikTok videos and trying Facebook videos and trying emails and putting this website up and doing this, all the failure of 2 years, failure in quotes, all the entrepreneurial experiences and experiments that most people will call failure in 2 years is why this opportunity just showed up. And what I told this client is nearly nobody will do the work to get to the point where those opportunities can find them.
Yeah.
Because almost everybody is trying to get to those opportunities before they've put in the work. And whatever your version of that entrepreneurial experimental process looks like, I'm not going to put anything on anybody. I'm not going to say it takes a certain amount of time. I'm not going to say you have to, get frustrated and get irritated and angry. But if you do, that's okay.
Right.
Because here's what I said. I said, you have been through the super spin cycle of the entrepreneurial washing machine. That's why you've earned this opportunity. Most people want to figure out the way to come out of the machine without ever going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck. Because coming out of that machine is a level of certainty and magnetism that you cannot have any other way. So there are processes that absolutely work. And the good news is, once you have this individual experience, that can never be taken away from you. That's also the really important piece, is you're not attaching your identity or your success or your future to anything that's unstable. You're attaching it to yourself. And the more centered and stable that you can get, the more that you can see the opportunities all around you. And that's what gives you the ability to pivot. That's what gives you a foundation of creative entrepreneurship. So I want to wrap this up, just because obviously we can go on and on and on about this. There is a process to do this. And that's what our programs create is experiences that produce this as an outcome. And so the first 2 steps to that process are an online coaching program and a 5-day immersion coaching certification program. And so if any of you are interested in any of the stuff that we're talking about, jump in our programs. And what I promise you is that we provide the experiences that produce the outcomes.
Yeah.
We don't provide shortcuts to get to the outcomes. And if you go through the process that produce the outcomes are inevitable. Because we're talking about foundations, we're talking about fundamentals. What we know is for somebody to have a fundamentally sound business, what skills do they need to have? What belief do they need to have? What trust do they need to have? Okay, so if they need this, and this, what experiences do they need to go through in order to produce this, and this, and then they have a chance. That's how we create all of our programs. And it's really the only way that you can bank on an outcome actually being produced, is that you have to go through the experiences that produce it. If this all sounds like mumbo jumbo and it doesn't make sense because you want to know what those experiences are, awesome. That's the point of this whole conversation, is that you cannot intellectually understand what the process is, because the process isn't intellectual. It's an embodied one.
Yeah.
What do you want to say as we wrap up here?
As we wrap up, it's that for many, many years, I really struggled in communicating with other people about our 5-day coaching certification program. I just knew it was something that I needed to be at. I knew it was something that was incredibly transformational for the people that I saw go through it, the people that I walked into that space, and myself in that space. And I had a really, really hard time articulating that intangible piece. And it hit me a couple of years ago, and it's what you have been speaking to, which is that you need, this particular course, our 5-day coaching certification training, it's everything that you need in order to do everything that you don't even realize you're not doing.
Right.
And that's what I heard in what you were sharing. Because what I had a mentor tell me this recently, and it's just been such a huge anchor for me, which is that anybody who is showing up, anybody who is, marketing themselves consistently, anybody who's doing that, in my mentor's experience, and I agree with this, is that they're either, one, completely just ignoring and overriding their system, or they've done a shit ton of this inner embodiment work to be able to have that stable, centered self that you were speaking to be able to go through the process. And this is just an invitation to step into what it truly does take to succeed, knowing and hear it in your brain. It might not sound sexy. It might not sound like all the other stuff that's out there, but all the other stuff that's out there, has that been working for you?
Yeah.
And for me, the answer was, oh shit, no. It's actually not. It's not working for me. I've been trying to do all the stuff that they've been saying to do, and it's not working for me. Okay, maybe I step into something different. And that's the invitation here. It's not that we're not talking about not getting clients. We're not talking about not marketing. We're talking about what it actually takes for you to be able to do the work to land upon that clicking point that you're going to know how to be able to market. That can't be figured out without you having that stable, centered self first. You can't shortcut it. You can override it temporarily. That's possible. But you can't shortcut it sustainably. And if you want to really succeed as an entrepreneur, it's got to be sustainable. I'll stop there for now.
Yeah. So it's a mix of, my final thoughts is a mix of hope and sadness, honestly, because what most people want in the coaching world is 100% possible. Just not by the way they're trying to get it. And so what is possible, most people won't do because they don't know, or they don't really fully believe what's possible on the other side. So, and it's why we, even offer programs and sell the way that we do, and don't sell the way that we don't sell. So this is an invitation. If any of you are interested, you can go to coachshansmith.com/BCC to check out the online version of the first stage of this confidence and certainty and conviction conversation. Or we've got a 5-day immersion experience coming up next month, starting on November 27th. And you can go to coachshansmith.com/ECCP to check out that one. If you have any questions, let us know. Let us know what really landed for you. And anything else that, that you have a takeaway from this conversation. So we'll continue to dive in and teach and share and, everything that we can. So stay tuned. We're going to keep doing a bunch more of these videos in the upcoming weeks, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care, everyone.